This is MHS Talks Education, the second annual Black School Psych Summit 2024. Dr. Kamio Jones is a school psychologist practicing out of Elk Grove, California. She presented on ways to create safe spaces in schools for LGBTQIA+ students.
Particularly, we talked about the BIPOC youth, so Black, Indigenous people of color. And I gave a lot of resources, and we talked about a lot of ways that we can create safe spaces in our schools as a school psychologist for this particular population, so that they feel like they can be whoever they want to be.
Dr. Jones touches on some of the challenges in supporting students in changing environments.
I think most importantly to always keep the student first. A lot of these laws sometimes are put in place not necessarily to protect the student, even though they may seem like they are, and it actually might make it harder for us to protect students. For example, whether you can or can't let parents know about their gender, that makes it super difficult which way you fall for us as school psychologists. And ultimately, we just have to think about how is the student gonna feel, what do they want, what is gonna make them feel safe.
Community-driven clubs are popping up more and more to provide much-needed support for students.
One of those that a lot of schools are starting to adopt are GSAs, which are gay-straight alliances. And pretty much what that is, it's just a club for students who identify as LGBTQ and people who feel like they're allies, whether it's their friends, brothers, sisters, families, things like that, to come together and talk about those issues, talk about what the community needs, and then also even creating ethnic clubs as well, so that they have a way to belong on both sides.
Students with intersecting identities face challenges in school. Dr. Jones offers her insights on how to navigate the complexities of these intersections.
I think it's really hard. That's where creating those ethnic clubs like the BSU, which is a Black Student Union, is really important because you may have students in BSU who maybe are not accepting of that other community. So it's really important that we are intertwining those as much as we can. Sometimes the older generations, they have their different views. They grew up in a different time than we are now. It's understandable. But if they're still working in the field, they sometimes are not willing to change those views. And so it does make it hard because they could be the only African-American staff on campus, but yet they're not accepting of those specific kids. And that already eliminates another safe person that the kid possibly could have had. So I think it's important to understand that, as African-American or any really minority ethnicity, we're already at a disadvantage. And so to think about, do we really want to make it 2 times harder for these kids that are now at another disadvantage because of who they like or how they identify?
Dr. Jones expresses a final insight to conference goers.
There are always little ways you can push the envelope where that's comfortable for you as a school psychologist. And I think that's the most important thing, because unfortunately, some of these laws are going to keep being put in place, policies are going to be put in place, and you can't just keep leaving every district just because of some policy they have, because you never know if the next district is also going to adopt it. So it's just very important to just remember to keep pushing back against whatever doesn't sit right with you for your students.
For more information on the Black School Psychologist Network, visit bspninc.com. Stay tuned for more videos in this MHS Talks Education series. Follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube for more.